Hi there, Vanagon addicts. It's Ken Wilford here at Vanagon. I want us to do another episode of our new show that I am calling Tech Talk. And today, the Tech Talk is going to go to a question that I get asked a lot, which is about engine conversions for the Vanagon. I started my business in 1998, and even back then, people were talking about all the problems with the Waterboxer. They actually had a huge recall on them in 1999, and so people were talking about it. They wanted to go with something else. They were thinking about, going with a inline four Jetta Golf engine. A lot of people did them back then when they could get the parts from a diesel Vanagon that was defunct, and they could put it into their van. And it just has kind of went from there over the years, and we did a lot of conversions here. Actually, the first one we ever did was a 5-cylinder out of an Audi. That was a popular conversion back in the late 90s, early 2000s. You could get these Audi 5-cylinder engines all over the place here in the junkyards. The Audi cars were terrible, but the engines were amazing. And so there was a guy in Germany named Winkler who was doing kits for them. We bought the parts from him and did one, and I soon realized something that basically has held true the entire time over the last 20 years, which is engine conversions are really only as good as the support behind it, the information you have at your disposal, and that kind of thing. Because it's very frustrating when you think you're buying everything you need to do an engine conversion, and then the next thing that happens is that you don't have everything you need, and you're in the middle of it, and you need to order more parts from Germany. You need to order more parts from another country or something, or even just across the U.S. So it's very, very it's not as simple as it seems on the surface. So we're going to try to talk about these things, touch these different things. So, like I said, at the beginning, they had this 5-cylinder conversion. That was the first one I actually heard about. I did one of those. Got an engine out of an Audi GT and put it into a Vanagon, and it was pretty nice. The customer wasn't so nice, but the car turned out pretty nice, I thought. Then the next one that we got excited about was the Tico. That was a 4-cylinder gas one. We did several of them. Again, they turned out nice for the most part, but they did have some quality issues. The engines were coming out of South Africa from a rebuilder there, and the biggest problem really was just kind of hit and miss on how good the engines were. And the rest of this kit was decent, but the engines were kind of like I have one right now that we did 20 years ago that is still running and on the road. And then I had one that lasted about 6 months and fried a piston. And what was the difference between the two of how I did them and set them up? Absolutely nothing. Okay, so, I think it really just came down to the engines themselves. So we did some of those. Then over the years, we've did a bunch of other ones. I've actually had a customer that bought a homebrewed 4-cylinder one with an ABA engine on eBay, and we finished it for him. We did Bostig Engineering conversions, a few of those. We've driven in a lot of customers' Subaru conversions, so I definitely have experience on this. So let's get started. So that's kind of my background in it, 20 years of doing engine conversions, 20 years of seeing them and experiencing them. And we even did a diesel conversion, a turbo diesel. So we've done a lot of stuff. So there's a really good resource, Vanagon.org. Okay, you go on there. They have an engine conversion comparison, and they basically talk about the situation. So let me kind of do the TLDR version here. You get down to the end. Right now, they're trying to compare, the Boston conversion, the Subaru 2.2, the Subaru J25, which is a 2.5, the VW 1.8T, and then, of course, the Waterboxers. There's a couple others out there that they don't mention, which is a Boxier, which is a TDI conversion. And there's also the FAS, the FAS, Foreign Auto Supply. I don't think they actually mentioned those either. So I'm going to kind of talk about everything as much as I can. So, you scroll down here to me, which is something that I would try to talk to people about at the very beginning. You know, the enticing thing about the engine conversion, one of the big arguments is it is going to be cheap. I can buy a used engine and put it into my van, and it is going to be cheap. Okay, let me dispel that myth right now. It is not going to be cheap. It is going to be probably at least twice as expensive. Some of these are 3 times as expensive as rebuilding a Waterboxer and putting it back in with all new hoses, all new exhaust system, all new, you know, we even sell like new wiring harnesses for it, rebuilt computers, all the components are new and rebuilt. So you can basically take the Waterboxer and you can put it back to very close to being new. Okay, you know, we don't have a new case yet. Maybe we'll have that at some point. But you can have new heads on it, new pistons and cylinders, a new crankshaft, a new, you know, rods, all new bearings, new camshaft, all new lifters, you know, all that stuff you can get new. Okay, you can put all new studs in your case, and you're pretty close to being back to being new, and your price is going to be well lower than one of these conversions. Okay. I think that's one of the biggest issues that we ran into over the years was this, you know, unrealistic expectations about the conversions. There was a lot of hype about them. They were going to be cheaper. They were going to save you tons of money. And to be honest with you, that has never panned out. Okay, that has never panned out. That has not panned out for the ones you buy as a kit form, and it has everything, like a Tico or like the Bostig. And it's never panned out for the homebrew ones where you go and buy a used engine and you kind of cobble everything together with used parts. The costs are hidden on those by just your amount of time that you spend. Okay, so let's look at these and kind of see, you know, what we're looking at. So the first one I want to talk about is the Bostig one. That is the Ford ZTech. Okay, engine. It's basically the same engine they use in the Ford Focus. It is a very well-designed engine. I don't even think Ford designed it. I think they had a Japanese firm or something design, or German firm design this engine for them, because I will tell you that this engine is very well designed, and it is trying to be as bulletproof as possible. It is trying to be as idiot-proof as possible, and I highly recommend this conversion for a few reasons. One is how good the engine is. Okay, the other one is how complete the engine kit is. So you want to do this yourself at your house. This is the kit to buy, in my opinion. Okay, because you buy the kit, there is a list of parts you need from Rock Auto or eBay or something. You buy them. So, you know, they're showing the kit costs $6,000 something. The other costs are $2,000. The total kit is $8,000. That's kind of low. I would say more like you're heading towards the $9,000 to $10,000 range, because there's parts that they say are recommended that actually are required, like this lower, this oil pan that you can have that gives you a little more like distance over the curb and stuff. Yeah, you 100% want that. Like, I don't know why it's not included in the kit. They don't want to make the kit more expensive, but they need that. You need that. Okay, so I would say Bostig, you know, parts for that kit, you're looking at around $9,000. Your install time would probably be about 20 hours. So if you're looking at labor, you're probably looking at another, you know, couple $1,000s in labor. So you're looking at around 12 grand, 13 grand, somewhere in that range to get it, have it installed. Also depends on what motor you want. I mean, at this point, I might recommend getting a rebuilt engine, because the only downside to this conversion, in my opinion, is the motors themselves are getting harder to find as a used, low mileage. Okay, so you might want to get either a new one or a rebuilt one. And the low mileage ones that are in the junkyards right now, a lot of them have been sitting for years and years and years and years, and they really need like they need like the heads resurfaced and new head gaskets and things, because they're just sitting there. Okay, So that's just my take on the Ford. Like I said, if you want something that you can, get all this stuff in a very good period of time, get it put in. Like, you can put this conversion together, put it in less than a week. Okay, once you get all the parts, you can get this thing together, get less than a week. There's tons of videos online. There's tons of, there's an entire step-by-step manual online for it. Very, very nicely thought out and stuff. I tip my hat to these guys. All right, so that's my number one recommendation on conversions if you want to do it. But again, see what I'm talking about? You're looking at probably $13,000-$14,000 if you had to pay somebody to do it and buy all the stuff and things. There's also these other conversions. So here's the website. I have the stuff up here. I might as well look at the stuff. So this is your website. You can kind of see the engine bay, very clean install. They have a nice website where the guy that runs it, Jim Akiva, he tries to like do, be very proactive with you. And if you have a question, it goes into their like ticketing system where it kind of keeps it in front of him, and he has to like close it out if you're having an issue or whatever. So I mean, very, very well organized and great support. Okay, so that is my number one recommendation. But again, all right, I'm spending $14,000. Okay, if I was doing, like I said, the Vanagon engine with all of the stuff and things, everything new, everything rebuilt, you're looking at probably, and installation, depending on what version you're going to do. So we'll get into that too. You're probably looking at $10,000. If you're not going with some crazy performance one. All right, so let's go into the next one. Stefans Auto House. Okay, I got him on here somewhere. He does a 1.9T engine. All right, my thing on this is to not crap on people. I'm not crapping on people. Okay, I've never driven one of these. Okay, Stefans is in Sacramento. It seems like they are, pretty popular conversion. Okay, I was trying to find some pictures of it, but they're online somewhere, I guess. I don't know why he doesn't have any on his website that I could find. Let me just see if I see anything more. Nope. But this conversion, the biggest issue I have with this conversion, and I could be completely wrong. If I'm wrong, you can destroy me in the comments. It's fine. The 1.8T engine is not Volkswagen's finest hour, guys. Let's just be honest. This engine is extremely trouble prone. Okay, if you go online and you search for 1.8T engine, you're going to see people having major problems and issues with this motor. And I don't understand why you would want to take something like that and put it into a Vanagon, because to be 100% upfront with you, most people want to get this thing out of their car if they could possibly do it. Most of the time, instead, they just send their car to the junkyard, and then I guess that's where these guys can pick them up cheap and redo them, rebuild them, or whatever. They had major sludging issues. They had head starvation issues. They had head gasket issues. They had turbo issues. They had everything issues. Okay, so yeah, putting this in your car, Vanagon, I have no clue why you would want to do that, but I mean, I'm sure it has pluses. They have stuff on their site talking about the power levels they have and all this other stuff, and I'm sure they're amazing. But again, I don't know anything about it. One of the pluses, though, okay, is that it is apparently has smog in California. Okay, so that's a big deal with these conversions too. I haven't really touched on that yet, but you need, if you live in California, do not even consider a conversion unless they have smog paperwork, because you cannot drive the car there. Okay, so they need to be, smog compliant. Okay, again, these guys are talking about this, that, a lot of conversions are not smog compliant, and if they're not, then you can't use them in California, and therefore you're beat. That's the nice way of saying it. Okay, so their thing is they do have an executive order. Okay, you need that. How do you get it? All right, how do you get that? You got to spend a lot of money, and give some money to the California Air Resource Board, people dudes, and then they say, wow, that's great. I think your engine conversion is wonderful. So here's your deal. Here's your executive order. And now anytime that somebody needs to get smog, they just bring it in and show it to that you basically bribe them, and they and they say, "Oh, you slipped the CARB at 20 grand. Okay, here you can go through now. You're fine." I mean, am I being mean about it? Yep. Is that exactly what's happening? 100%. Okay, so just FYI. All right, so 1.8T. I can't really speak to them. You can see the prices: 18 grand, 17 grand. I'm sure the power level is nice, but would I do it? Nope, I wouldn't do it. All right, so now let's move on to the one I would recommend under the ball stick, which is Subaru. Okay, 2.2, 2.5. They have a 3.0. Okay, 6-cylinder one. Okay, so Subaru is the one that for the last, I don't know, probably 15 years, everybody that's trying to do this on the cheap has been hyping, not the other thing, hyping Subaru, how amazing it is because you can do it and it's super cheap. Okay, but is it? Oh, is it, my friends? No, it's not. Okay, is it super cheap? Nope. Okay, why do I say that? Because, okay, you can get an engine conversion kit. Look at this, only $2,689.99. I mean, that's cheap. You take that, you go to the junkyard, buy a Subaru car for $500, or maybe your grandmommy had one and she got in a crash, and you said, "Oh, grandmommy, give me your old car," and she's like, "Okay, I don't care." And, you know, so it's really, really cheap, right? Nope. Why? Because this right here, this conversion kit, and I'm not busting on Rocky Mountain Westy, they're good people, I like them, is just the tip of the iceberg. This is not everything. This is some things. And once you buy these things, then you're going to say, "Oh, wait, I don't have this, and I don't have that, and I need more things." And by the time you buy all the things and the stuff, it's a lot more than this. Okay, it's a lot more than this. And they kind of talk about this on this page here. They have this kit, then you have extra costs, then it turns into this. Do you see what I'm saying? So, you know, I can't really speak to this. I've never did one of these. Okay, but, okay, this is what happens. That, you know, it's like a bait and switch. And that's why I have a problem with the Subaru conversions. It's not so much I have a problem with the conversion themselves. I have a problem with the mindset of this is going to be cheap. I have people calling me. Oh my gosh. If I had $1 for every person that called me over the last 15 years telling me, ask me for advice, quote unquote, and then telling me that they're going to do a Subaru conversion for $3,000, cheaper than doing a rebuilt Waterboxer, and then just, you know, berating me because I'm stupid and I don't know what I'm talking about. No. Okay. There is hidden costs. Many, many hidden costs. How do I know there's so much hidden costs? Well, let's look at this example. Rocky Mountain Westy. Okay, people were just looking at their website for the nice $2,000 kit you can buy. Okay, 2.2, 2.5. The kit, now on here they're showing it 38, you know, 3822. That's more than on the site. Okay, weird. When you get down to the end, $14,000. Okay, $14,000. Yup, I would say that's about accurate. Okay, it's about accurate in that by the time you buy all the pieces and parts you need, you buy an engine, you're going to buy an old crappy used one, you're going to buy one of these low mileage ones from Japan. I will tell you a secret about that. Okay, in Japan, people buy a new car every 2 to 3 years. Okay, a Japan car is sitting in traffic and idling for most of its life because of the traffic. And because they buy a new car every 2 to 3 years, that car never gets oil changes and never gets serviced in any way, shape, or form. Because they know they're going to get a new one. So, the real world mileage of a Japan motor that has 30,000 miles, 50,000 miles, is about 150,000. Okay, because of it is basically being put through the worst possible routine you can imagine for an engine. No oil changes for the entire lifespan of it. Okay, and you know, so you know, go into an importer, buying a low mileage Subaru, is a crapshoot. Okay, I would probably recommend getting a rebuilt engine from a reputable rebuilder. And again, that makes your thing go more. Rocky Mountain Westie, so 14,000. Is it CA smog? Nope. Okay, you have to go through Kennedy Engineering Products. Okay, again, you're going to buy pieces and parts and here and there and this and that, but they have a certificate, 2.2. They have a certificate for that. Okay, there's other people out there. There is a place called Small Car Performance. Okay, they do Subaru conversions. I've had a customer of mine in New Jersey that back in the day shipped his van all the way out there. They did a 2.5 liter on his and test drove it. He flew out, picked it up, drove to a local camp out place and parked, okay, and camped for like a week to make sure everything was okay. It was good that he did because he had issues and problems. Had to bring it back. They sorted through it and they gave it back to him. Drove all the way across the country to New Jersey. I got to drive it as I'm test driving it, and and I mean I know how to drive a Vanagon. Okay, I've driven like a million of them. As I'm test driving it, being very nice to it. Okay, I don't peel out tires. I don't do any of that stuff. Third gear broke in the transmission. I mean, it's good that it happened, here in New Jersey instead of out in the middle of nowhere. But yeah, just me driving it like very nicely around like a mile from my shop. Third gear broke. Okay, I mean it's not Peace Van's fault or Small Car's fault. I'm sorry. Don't mean mix me up. Small Car's fault. But, this is another thing that happens. You put more power, you put more, everything, and, now the transmission is your weakest link. So, just something to think about. You're doing all this work, you're going to put it hooked to a used transmission that's got a lot of miles on it. Yeah. So, I mean, he got the transmission rebuilt. As far as I know, he's been driving it for, like, probably at least 10 years and been enjoying it. Okay. So that is a Small Car. There's also Bus Lab. Okay, they are in California as well. Okay, they have a California legal conversion that they do at their shop. But again, it's not cheap. Okay, it's expensive because they're doing everything. They know all these little ins and outs. Okay, I guess if you are going to pay somebody to do it, it would be smart to have somebody that does a lot of these and gets these done. Small Car does a lot. Bus Lab, I say, does probably a lot. There's, let's see, who else? Peace Vans, I think. Okay, let me get rid of this. We're not talking about them anymore. Peace Vans, I had them up here at one point. This is them, I think, right? Yeah, Peace Vans. They do quite a few. Okay. And so, yeah. All right. So let's continue on. So these are the two main ones I would say right now would be the Balstic one. This one is just a secondary 1.8T. I don't know how many are out there. A few. The Subaru is probably number 2 on my list of ones I would recommend to people. Now we come down to Inline 4 Foreign Auto Supply. All right, Foreign Auto Supply. I'm not going to say anything bad about them. Okay. But, okay, it is a very small shop in Maine. And I don't know how many employees they have. I have never been there. I've had experiences with them, buying things from them over the years. My take on them is that they are very, very overwhelmed with what they're doing. In other words, they have a lot of orders, they have a lot of interest and a lot of things going on. They don't have enough people to really do everything that they want to do. But they actually do a lot more things than I would expect by how many people they have. So, anyway, so they do a inline. They basically took up the torch from Tico. Back when we were doing Tico conversions, Foreign Auto Supply was buying a ton of them and doing them. Supposedly, they cranked out 100 of them or something in the space of a few years. Do I have any clue how they did this? Nope, because when I did them, I was always running into problems and issues. But anyway, so you can see there they have let me go to their website. They have some really nice looking products. Okay, you can see they're really nice looking conversions that they have. Gen 5, okay, and that kind of thing. And you can, it's a complete kit, okay. But the pricing, $12,995. They have a diesel version, $15,000. Okay, and they're really nice, seemingly nice and everything, but that does not include install. Okay, and the other problem I've had with them over the years is just really communication and them getting back to you and you being able to talk to them. It's very limited. Okay, it's very limited. I'm just trying to be as nice as I can possibly be. It is very, very limited to the point of you feel like that, again, they feel like they're overwhelmed with what they're trying to do, what they're trying to get done, and the amount of people they have. Okay, so if you want to be on your own, if you want to be, doing things, that you're on your own and you don't care about people talking to you and helping you and supporting you, as much as some of these other ones. The Ballsy one, like I said, they have a full manual, step by step. It is trying to be as idiot-proof as possible. It does a good job at that. The Subaru Conversions, the community, okay, is your manual. They help you. They're there for you. And a lot of them, some of them did multiple conversions. They know the ins and outs. Okay, that's why I would recommend that. Okay, Foreign Auto Supply, I don't know. Like I said, the stuff that I've did with them over the years, they try to get back to me. They try to communicate, but there's just a couple guys there. So between working on stuff and everything else, stuff falls through the cracks. All right, let's move on from them. So the other, and are they California smog? Nope. Okay, so if you're in California, you basically have a few options. You have this 1.8T version that I just talked about, the Stefans Auto House, German Motor Works. And then you have these different older Subaru engines, 2.2, 2.5, that have certificates. Besides those, I don't really know anything else. On this page, they're showing Foreign Auto Supply, the diesel is California. Possible. All right, so let's move on. So the last thing we're going to talk about are these upgraded Waterboxers. Okay, upgraded Waterboxers. So out of all of these, which ones do I actually recommend? All right, so we've got a 2.2 Go Westy. Okay, I have experience with that. Rocky Jennings. Okay, I don't have any experience with him. I've talked to him on the phone. Seems like a very knowledgeable individual. Okay, so out of all of these, which ones would I recommend? Okay, I would say this 2.2 from Go Westy. I would tentatively recommend that. Rocky Jennings, I would say probably 2.1, 2.2 from him should be safe. And you can see the prices. Okay, you're getting this thing. The engine cost $4,495. Engine cost $3,700. Okay, your install is this, and I'm sure that's including parts and things. Okay, and then so your total cost is $6,700, $74.95. Okay, a lot less. Okay, a lot less. Say you went the whole hog, bought the engine harness from us, you bought all the coolant hoses, you bought all the whole exhaust system. I think that's going to be included in this $3,000 cost here because, to be honest, we would do those in 20 hours, so that's $2,000, and then the rest of the stuff, yeah, it's probably like in that range. Okay, so you're looking at replacing all your coolant hoses, your exhaust system, and doing an install, and you have at $74.95. If you want to get a rebuilt computer and a new wiring harness, which I'd recommend, new distributor, all that good stuff, you're still only looking at another maybe $1,500. Okay, so less than like $9,000, around $9,000, you can have a completely rebuilt engine, all new exhaust, all new, wiring harness, all new computer, all new everything. $9,000. Okay, and is it California smog proof? Yep. Yes, it is. Because why? Because it's still the same exact motor. Okay. Does it have a little bit more power? Yes. Okay. A little bit. But so there's definitely advantages with staying with the Waterboxer. I know that sounds weird after all these years of people crapping on it and pooping on it, okay, and that kind of thing. But to be honest with you, it's still a very viable option. Now, so if I was going to go with one, I would go with a 2.2. I have a customer that has one right now. It's been fine for about 10 years. He's had it. It's been fine and dandy. Why don't I recommend going with bigger ones? We got 2.3, 2.45, 2.7. Okay, here's the reason. Okay, even if you replace everything, new wiring harness, rebuilt computer, rebuilt stuff and things, the Waterbox, the Digifont system has no way of dealing with any type of detonation situations that are going on. Okay, so one of the advantages, a big advantage of all these newer style engines is that they do have OBD2 support. That is, you can scan them with a scan tool and see problems and issues. And they also have modern day fuel injection that can adjust for, different types of fuel automatically, and it can also adjust for different conditions. So say you're driving in an area where you're high altitude, or you're in a condition where the engine is seeing a detonation event, they can adjust for that automatically on the fly, save the engine. Okay, save the engine. The ball stick is actually well known for this. Say the ball stick, if you have a low coolant condition, which is something that happens on Vanagons sometimes, when a hose busts or something, the radiator fan stops working, something kooky like that, the ball stick will actually go into limp mode, and it will shut off different cylinders in sequence to try to keep the engine from frying itself and overheating. Okay, so yeah, that's a big advantage to me. That's nice. Okay, so that would be an advantage of that over the Waterboxer. Okay, the price is more, but you have advantage things. So Go Westy, they came out with these 2.3 engines, 2.5, I think. They're calling it 4.5 now. A while back. This 2.7 is new to me. They came out with these a while back, and I've heard a lot about burnt pistons. Okay, messed up rings, messed up cylinders. And it's really, in my thing, it's because it doesn't have a way to deal with detonation, which is something that's going to happen when you have a higher compression engine and a higher capacity engine and you put it under a load. It's going to happen. Okay, and when it happens, it will burn your piston. It will cause damage, and then it will shorten the life of the engine. Okay, so what they tried to do, their workaround to that, was to go with their, and I don't even have that on here, but I'll go there real quick. They have a Go Westy new engine heart fuel injection system. Okay, let's see here, that they came up with, okay, a few years ago to deal with this exact scenario, this exact situation. Okay, because they had so much problems with this. People were getting upset. People were complaining. I'm sure. Okay, I'm sure. And so here is their solution. You buy this very expensive engine, okay, and then you have to also buy this very expensive new fuel injection system that's $2,995, okay, and basically what it's doing is it's trying to take the Waterboxer to like an OBD2 style engine control system, and the problem with it is that it's not that great. Okay, again, how do I know this? I don't know it from personal experience. I know it from customers calling me, asking me to try to help them troubleshoot this system and go through the system. And, some of the early adopters, they were having problems from the get-go. Okay. One of the Achilles heel, they have this thing here about the Achilles heel of the Waterboxer, Digifont system. One of the Achilles heels of this system is this unit right here. Okay. They put this unit in place of the distributor, and it is your, I don't know what it is, your RPM sensor or your crank position sensor or something. Why? Okay, why? Because here's another unit they actually made later after they put these out and they were having all kinds of problems and issues. They actually put out this wheel that goes behind your crank pulley, that is, you know, giving you probably like RPMs or whatever, as well as this other unit here. And you know, I would rather have seen something that you modify the flywheel and you put you know, you basically, I've worked on Porsche 944. They had basically all they did was drill a whole bunch of holes in the flywheel and put like little screws in the flywheel sticking up, steel screws, and they put a sensor, you know, in a hole, and boom, they have they actually have a speed sensor. Wow, amazing. That was how they did it on the early 944s with a Digifont system. It's kind of funny. They had a Digifont, or actually they were going to a Motronic system. I'm sorry, early Motronic system, and they basically rigged it up, you know, and had these screws in there and the flywheel. But it worked good. It worked fine. Okay, they could have did that. We actually had a sensor in the Waterboxer that was for, you know, crank position or whatever, that was used for a diagnostic tool. They could have just used that hole, put a sensor in there, and put some screws in the backside of the flywheel, and bam, boom, boom, bam, nailed it. It would have been done. I mean, that's my opinion. But anyway, I digress. So, you know, if you're going to go with one of these really big engines, okay, 10 grand or whatever, or 7 grand, 8 grand, you also are going to have to pony up for this. Okay, so when you realize that, again, to me, it's a hidden cost. Now you're looking at, you know, $10,000 plus, you know, your install, and it's going to make it even more expensive. It's going to put it closer to the Subaru conversions that you can get that were designed. You know, the other problem is these engines were never designed to have 2.7 liters. You know, these other engines, they were designed to be a 2.5. You know, so is it going to be more robust? Yes. Okay. Is it going to hold up better? Yes, because it was designed from the get-go to be that. You know, these original ones, they were designed to be a 2.1. They did have a factory 2.2 that they sold in Europe, so that's why I can recommend them. And again, I've had experience with them with the factory system. They hold up pretty good. Okay, so you know, that's my take on all this. I know this has been a long video. I tried to be fair to these different people. Maybe you say, hey, I bought the Go Westy fuel injection component replacement kit, and I just love it, and I think it's the most bestest thing since sliced bread. And you know, put it in the comments. Okay. If you had a lot of problems with it, don't put it in the comments. I don't want to you know, use this as a way to you know, poop on them or anything. Go Westy is a good company. They've serviced the Vanagon community for many, many years, and you know, I try to support them. I'm not downing them. Oh, I guess the last kit I didn't even talk about is this Boxier one TDI kit. It's not even on the engine conversion list, so I just asked them to add it on. There's a new kids on the block. You know, they have this TDI 2.0 engine. You can buy a crate engine for them for basically 17,000 bucks. Okay. Yep, that's it out there. If you have $17,000 and you know, don't know what to do with it all, this is a way to spend it. Is it, you know, is it California emissions stuff and things? Possibly, because diesel gets a free pass a lot of times. Okay, so is it emissions thing? Check with them. It could be. Okay, I have a local customer that has one. I did a video on YouTube showing it installed in his van. I didn't do the install. They actually did it there, and they charged him a bunch of money. You know, he's had some issues with it, so I'm not going to say it's perfect or anything, but look how nicely designed everything is. I mean, these engine cradle things, it's very similar to Bostig as far as they're like works of art, and they need to be in the Louvre or something. I don't know. I mean, look at this stuff. Oh my gosh, it's ridiculous. Look how beautiful this is. It looks like a stinking bridge or something. And you know, it's OBD2. You've got like a bunch of other, you know, computer programs and things you can use with it. I'm trying to go to those other pictures, but it's not letting me. Don't ask me why. So it's another option to think about, but it's a very expensive option. To me, though, at least it's being honest. It's being honest with you about how much it costs up front. That gives it, you know, brownie points in my book. Because, like I said, the biggest issue you have is not being honest with how much it's going to cost. Okay, so the bottom line, okay, if you want to stay as low cost as possible, stay with the Waterboxer. Maybe get a 2.2 up rebuild. Get all new stuff put on it. I have had them be very reliable for me for 10 years or more. And you know, you didn't just, you know, drop the entire bank on that. If you want to do something else, like you need OBD2, you want that, you want to have, you're driving in these really different conditions all the time, and you want the more modern fuel injection, then I would say Bostig or Subaru would be where I would go with that. So I guess that's it for this video. It's very long. Hopefully this will save me some time in the future. People calling on the phone, ask me these questions. I can just refer them to this video. Please like, share, subscribe on our YouTube channel. I'm going to take you there real quick. Okay, Vanagon. And you like, share, subscribe. When you subscribe, make sure you click the notification button so that you can, you know, be notified every time we do a new video. There's a little bell in the corner. I don't know where it is on here. It's here somewhere. And you want to click that so you can get notified. If you hated this video and you thought it stunk and you want me to be killed by the Russians, definitely make a down, you know, a down thumb. But if you thought it was great and you want more, give an up thumb and I will do more. All right, that's it, guys. We'll see you guys on the next video.